Hey, hello guys.
Hey.
How are we all doing? We are
You spelled
here.
my name wrong again.
Really? Hang on. One day I'll get it right.
Always puts two M's in it, but never mind.
Hey.
So, how's
Oh,
everybody?
we're here.
My name wrong again.
So we've got a nice guest. I'm trying to fix something. Oh, there we are. And we'll do this just to keep Max a bit more happy. I will delete our names. Guys, how are we doing? Everyone's happy today. It's been a great week for me. Max, have you had a good week?
Yeah, it's been a good week. Weather's getting warmer again outside, which is fantastic. So yeah, it's been a bit cold past couple of days, and then it's starting to heat up again, which is quite nice. Nice for the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. It has been a bit cold, but and the weather's been a bit grey. It's been a bit. What do you say? More bit grim up north, isn't it? Something like that.
Just a little bit.
Hey Ben from Fourth Hounslow, how you doing? And congratulations to your dad, actually. Ben in Fourth Hounslow, his dad Roger, he got a commissions commendation award on the very same day I got mine as well, because he's a volunteer at St John's Ambulance and he's working during the night, and he's conducting kind of ambulances where they go in the NHS and transporting people. So for his volunteering, he got that as well. So that's great.
Oh,
So
fantastic!
Excellent, fantastic. So we'll be doing some scout outs in just a few minutes. Max, it was my birthday on Tuesday.
Happy birthday!
I think they wanted you to sing "Happy Birthday" to Luke.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll do that kind of stuff in the shout outs, if that's okay.
Let's hope the internet
singing voice together.
Gonna get it warmed up. Mike Daniel says, "Let's hope the internet connection is better this week." Yeah, we've had support all this week, winding up more of the internet. So hopefully, yeah, it's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we will do some more scout outs as the night goes on. But before that, let's do
flag
a bit
break.
of this.
Okay, so make the scout sign. On my honour, I promise I will do my best to do my duty to God and to the Queen, to help other people, and keep the scout law. Okay. So, welcome to everybody, and hopefully we have a guest very soon. So as soon as they connect, we'll bring them in and introduce them, which will be good. Should we do it? Should we do a game? Start off. The random quiz. We've got a bit of an audio issue there, Mark. No one can hear you. You might have to rerun that quiz.
Hello? Max,
Okay,
are
I
you
can
there?
hear you. I can hear you. Yes, I
Oh,
can hear you.
that's very, very
But I'm not.
strange.
Can we hear Colin? Quick check in the
Oh,
back. Yeah,
there's always
we're
something
there.
going on.
We're there. Okay, you better
Well,
start those questions again just to
let's
make
start
sure.
that again. It's
Yes.
going so smoothly. Everything goes so smoothly. Not, but hey. All right. First, we're doing a random scout quiz. It's a true or false question. Okay, true. First number question. Cyclones spin in a clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. True or false? True or false that goldfish have a memory of 3 seconds? Number 3 question. The Channel Tunnel is the longest rail tunnel in the world. Max, question for you, number 4, about Darth Vader. He famously said the line, "Luke, I am your father," in The Empire Strikes Back. Did he say that or didn't he? Question for number 5. Stephen Hawking declined a knighthood for the Queen. Did he or didn't he accept it? Number 6, we can ask Megan when she's here. The highest mountain in England is Ben Nevis. Number 7, true or false? There's a word I can't say. I've been trying to practice this. The mathematical name for the shape of a Pringle is the hyperbolic paraboid. True or false? Number 8, Donald Duck's middle name is Fauntleroy. Number 9, the Statue of Liberty was given by France as a gift. And number 10, the first tea bags were made of silk. What do you think? How are we doing on that? Max, how did you get on with that?
I'm just trying to sort a connection with our guest.
Oh, okay.
But no, Darth Vader didn't say those exact words.
Okay. Right, we got some people. Leo is having a go. Oh, wow, look at these. And Harrison, well done. Look at those. Lots of people. Okay, so let's run through this quiz and see how. Please don't tell us the answer. You don't want to know the answers of the quiz? Yeah, of course we do. Of course we want the answers. All right, here we go. So, let's try. So, number 1, true or false? Cyclones spin in a clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. It was true. Excellent if you put true. And number 2, goldfish have a memory of 3 seconds. Well, apparently, I don't know how they know this, but it's false. They have a memory of 4 months. How they know that, I don't know. The Channel Tunnel isn't the longest world. It's the Gotham-based tunnel in Switzerland, and it's 4 miles longer at 35.5 miles long. Number 4, Darth Vader famously said, "Luke, I am your father," in The Empire Strikes Back. That is false. He said, "No, I am your father." And number 5, it's true. Stephen Hawking did decline a knighthood from the Queen. Number 6 is false. Ben Nevis is in Scotland and not in England. Number 7 is true about the Pringle. It is the hyperbolic paraboloid. That is the shape. Number 8, Donald Duck's middle name is Flatty-Delroy. I think that's how you pronounce it. Apparently that's true. And number 9, the Statue of Liberty was given as a gift from France. And yes, tea bags were originally made of silk. There you go. Did you know that? It's another amazing fact.
So I guess he's having a little bit of technical issues trying to get in. Not quite sure what's going on.
It's always a problem. Resilience. It's all about resilience. This is guys in the chat. This is really annoying. I'm saying, but 3 wrong. Alison got 9 out of 10. Oh wow, look at those! Lots of people. Very random questions. I told you it was a very random scout question quiz. It was good. doing a bit of research today, trying to get those random questions. But yeah, fantastic. Well done if you got them. Alison got 9 out of 10. Alison, what was the one that you got wrong? Just interesting to know which one. Leon got 5. Well done. Fantastic, Leon. You know some amazing random rubbish, like me and Max were full of random rubbish.
We have a guest now, but we can't hear you. I think. Can you try unmuting our guest for me, Mark?
We're trying. Hopefully, by the powers of modern technology, hopefully, what I need to do, hopefully.
Oh.
We saw
almost.
Our guest.
So
we saw our guest there.
We have a guest tonight, and she's a Scout ambassador, and hopefully we just got the video sorted. Just a small audio problem, so hopefully we'll get that sorted, and we should bring her in. So apologies. This wouldn't be first YouTube Scout group without a small technical problem.
Was something during the week.
Excellent, excellent. So let's bring our guest in, Mark.
Her camera hasn't appeared on my screen yet.
It has. It's on mine. Okay. Colin's nodding.
On mine.
So while Mark's doing that, our guest tonight is a Scout ambassador. She's a British survival consultant, adventurer, television presenter, and writer, widely known for her work alongside Bear Grylls on Mission Survive and other programs. Behind the scenes, she works on lots of TV programs as an advisor. It's Megan Hine.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah, not too bad. We've always have a little bit of technical problems. It's the internet and where we're at.
That was my fault. I tie knots for a living. I don't work in IT. The whole system decided it was going to upgrade itself just before our call. So thank you so much for your patience. And hello to everybody listening in.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight. So, yeah, thank you for responding to our request. And this is Mark, who's on the screen with me. And wow, Scout ambassador. We've got a couple of questions for you. But perhaps if there's anything I've missed in that introduction, if you want to add anything or.
No, I think that was a great introduction. Yeah, it's always really awkward, isn't it, when you're being introduced? You're like, who are you talking about? But yeah, no, that's me. Yeah, I usually spend sort of 10, 11 months of the year overseas, sort of running around after various presenters and leading expeditions in some of the world's most exciting wilderness environments. So it's actually been quite nice the past couple of months, actually, just sort of chilling out and kind of being in one place and getting on top of all the boring things in life, like the admin and things.
Oh, excellent. So where was the last place you filmed? You've been?
So just before lockdown, I'd been out in the Dolomites, and obviously I was kind of aware actually before the corona sort of stuff kind of locked us down in the UK that might be a possibility, because obviously where I was working was kind of the hotspot. And we were actually working on the second season of a show called You versus Wild, which is an interactive show with Bear Grylls. So we were kind of setting that up, and we haven't filmed it yet, but it's an amazing scenario that we've got planned for that. So we're hoping to go either do it in the Dolomites once the world opens up again, or we'll be taking that to Iceland or Costa Rica or somewhere. We're just going to see where the world goes with everything.
Oh, fantastic.
Megan, one question just in the chat. Asa's asking, where is the Dolomites?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. Yeah, it's like because I spent so much time in all of these places. It's like I know where they are, and I've spent so much time studying them on Google Maps and things. I forget that a lot of people don't know where they are. So they're in Italy. They're a mountain range in Italy, and they're just incredible. Actually, they are these massive towers of rock that are out there, which are incredible for rock climbing. If anybody's into their rock climbing, but they're also in the First and Second World War, they were strategic positions, and there's still a lot of old bunkers in the mountains, and so we were exploring those. And it's like you go across, because when we were out there, it was in like January, February time, and there was a lot of snow on the slopes and things, a lot of kind of very avalanche prone, very steep slopes that we were crossing to get into these bunkers that are in the mountains. And there's just some phenomenal stories of guys there that were defending that area, and were up in the mountains, and you'd have like a couple of people who would be stationed like right on top of these peaks for months on end. It was absolutely incredible place, and you can still find. We were finding like old grenades and old bullets and things out there as well. It was fascinating place. Yeah, incredible.
Wow. So you're a Scout ambassador as well. There's all this fantastic stuff you do with the shows and things, because you're mainly at the back of some of those, are doing all the advising and things. But you started off doing bushcraft in the north of England, I believe, and then you've progressed to this fantastic opportunities.
Yeah, so my career started in the mountains. Actually, I picked up my Mountaineer qualification, which is like a basic outdoor qualification, when I was 18. It was my 18th birthday present, and that's how I funded my way through university. Was out exploring the mountains, taking other people out into the mountains, and I was obsessed with rock climbing. And I remember one night, I was bivvying out by myself. I'd just been climbing by myself up on a peak called on Bowfell Buttress in the Lake District, and I just got to top, and I was bivvying out by myself. And I just remember thinking that like everything that I did is to kind of protect myself from nature. So I put up my tent, and I'm creating the shield. I wear my Gore-Tex jacket, and I'm creating the shield. When I'm climbing, I'm putting metal into the rock, and everything I'm doing is fighting against nature. And I actually, although I call myself an outdoor professional, an outdoor enthusiast, I know nothing about nature. And just a couple of days later, I was invited along to a talk on bushcraft. I had no idea what this was. And I think because I was a student at the time, it was the promise of free beer that drew me in, really. And I was sitting there, I was just like blown away by like what this guy was talking about in terms of, trees had all these incredible properties, and all these plants had these sort of medicinal properties, and everything could be used, and you could make fire by rubbing sticks together. Like, it just kind of blew my mind. I was like, wow, well, this is what's been missing. So I got back from that kind of like with my mind buzzing, and I Googled the company, and they were looking for apprentices. So I actually spent a couple of years then as an apprenticeship with them, and started leading expeditions with them. So I assisted initially with leading these expeditions and started taking them out. And they were quite anthropological based. So, you go out and spend time with native peoples, so with tribal peoples, and then we'd go and put the skills that we'd learned out into practice. But ultimately, I mean, the mountainside, sort of when I came into the TV work, which was a bit later, initially I was actually asked on for my rope rigging skills, so to stunt rig for these shows, and that was about 13 years ago now. And then they realised that I had both the skills in the survival and the bushcraft as well as the rope rigging, and I think it was just cheaper to employ one person than a whole team of people.
Wow. So what is it about scouting that you love?
Oh, it's the camaraderie. It's like the group, I think it's just like one big family. I know that like every family, we all have our like, ups and downs with everything and things, but it's just been incredible being a part of the Scout movement, the few years now that I've been a part of it. And, I get to come and talk to you guys and, all over and visit people all over the country. And it's just this incredible sort of sense of belonging, I think, that I've never experienced in any other organization before. And if you need help with something, it's like you can talk to people across the world. So I've got I've talked at various Scout organizations, and during this time I have the leaders that I was in contact with there, like checking in on me and things, see if I'm okay. And that's just amazing. Like, I've never experienced that with any organization before. So I think it's incredible, and I'm incredibly proud actually to be part of the team.
It's great what you talk about with the skills that you've done in your mountaineering, your rope work, and then doing all your survival stuff and things, and they're kind of things that we try to teach the young people to get them into, not to the same levels that you've done there, but get them introduced to these things through the badge work and through the skills to get them out. And it's great to see somebody who's using all of these skills that we teach the young people in the real world to say, look, hey, great, somebody here is actually doing this stuff and using it and making a living from it.
Yeah, it's incredible actually. I never knew, like, when I was at school, I didn't know that a career outside of academics existed. Both my parents had worked incredibly hard to get themselves out of sort of quite rough upbringings, really, into education and things. And I was the oldest. I'm the oldest of four. And I think they were expecting me to kind of follow suit and have a lot of, sort of put a lot of energy into the academics. And I really struggled at school to sit still. I really struggled, particularly going into my early teens. I really struggled to concentrate, and I always did okay academically, but I just had this like kind of panic that would kind of rise in my chest whenever I was stuck within four walls. And I think I was very, very fortunate that for my family, all our holidays were to go out into the mountains. Both my parents were actually geographers originally, so we would go out in our holidays and go and look at rocks and things up in the mountains. So I think that set me up really kind of to find the outdoors, and then I started going out for myself more. I found mountain biking, and it became very much about pushing my limits and exploring. And for me, then suddenly I found this incredible freedom, and it's almost like a kind of, I suppose, a canvas to kind of express myself. And and that for me was just like absolutely valuable. So I think for anybody listening in who, may be struggling academically, it's okay. There are other avenues, and it's, I think this is where the power of things like social media now, and the power of the Scout organization as well. You can now find, role models in all different disciplines, which is something that, for us, like, we didn't have growing up, because, I didn't grow up with social media and things. So it was really kind of hard to find your own way in it. And it was very easy to kind of think, what's wrong with me? Why can't I sit still?
So I've got a couple of questions from the chat room, if that's okay. So what advice would you give girls who think Scouts is just for boys?
Well, I don't know what advice, because it obviously isn't. There are so many women and girls involved in the movement, and I think it depends the reason behind why you might be questioning this. I think we still have a long way to go as women in terms of the way that we see ourselves and view ourselves, and the confidence that we have in ourselves to be able to push ourselves forwards. And a lot of that is still in, how we communicate with each other as children, and how parents communicate with children as well, and how we're brought up. But gender for me has never held me back on a personal level. So in terms of me going out climbing or mountaineering, my gender has never, ever been an issue there at all. In fact, a lot of the times when I was going out when I was younger, I was climbing far harder than the guys that I was going out with. So my gender has never been an issue in that sense. Yes, when I'm working, there are certain times when it is an issue, and that's in terms of certain cultures that I work in, where women just aren't equal yet. in those cultures. And for me, then it's finding a way around that, and it becomes part of the challenge. And it's like once you start seeing it as like a challenge to overcome and like an adventure, it becomes quite exciting. So in those situations, if I'm out there and I'm leading a team and the local people won't necessarily see me as the boss, I have to find a way around that. So, maybe I'll talk to a male colleague or a male member of my team and build up a good rapport with them so that they can get my message across. So gender shouldn't really be an excuse in this day and age for, I think if it starts becoming that, we have to really question ourselves, which I know is easier said than done.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely brilliant.
So Megan, another question in the chat room. Obviously, being around the world, you've seen lots and lots of animals. I am petrified of spiders, absolutely petrified. Somehow, as the dad of the house, I've got to go and get the spider, catch it in the glass. People are asking in the chat room, what animal are you scared of?
Well, I have a healthy respect. I have a very healthy respect for, spiders and snakes and things. There are snakes, and particularly like when, some of these areas I'm going to, if I'm working in very remote jungles, for example, there's just like a snake called a fer-de-lance snake, which is highly venomous and it's very deadly if you get bitten by it. And a lot of the times I'm working in places where, we're 24 hours at least from help. So if somebody has an accident or gets bitten by a snake, we're dealing with it there on the ground. So I have a very healthy respect of those animals. I still have like a weird fear of like sharks, and it's like if I actually see them underwater, it's fine. But I live here on the coast in North Wales, and I go out a lot when I'm at home. I go out a lot spearfishing. I have like a spear gun. I go out and I shoot fish underwater with. And it's even like when I'm out there on my own, it's like I can't help but think, there's something coming to get me. So it's more my imagination than than the reality.
So you don't like watching Jaws then?
Oh, I wish I'd never seen Jaws. I've got far too much of an active imagination.
So let's go the other way. What's the most, out of all the animals that you've seen on your travels, what's the best animal you've seen? What's the one you most like?
I think like there's these like they're called sun bears, and you get them in like on Borneo and in various other sort of jungle areas. And they're just these incredible. They're a bit like kind of a cross between like a red panda and like a giant panda, and they're quite cute things. And it's like seeing those in the wild if you can see them out there. I'd love to see a snow leopard in the wild. That's on my to-do list. Very, very high. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. So what's the best survival advice you can give to the young people?
Trust yourself. Like, have faith in yourself. I think that what's so amazing about the Scouts is that the whole Skills for Life program, and the kind of the message behind that is encouraging young people to get out and overcome as many challenges as possible and put yourself out there and really explore the world around you and question it and things. And with that comes resilience, which set you up for life. And I don't think you can't underestimate the experiences that you've had within the Scouts for kind of setting you up for the rest of life, in terms of life skills of like managing time, through to even surviving out in the wilds, all those skills that you've picked up on camping trips, and just communicating with each other as well. These are key life skills that so many young people who haven't been through the Scouts just don't have.
A life skill, Megan, is making tea. Are you a tea or a coffee drinker? Because that's a big thing as a Scout leader.
I'm actually a coffee
You get the answer wrong.
I don't answer this because it's like I've never been into tea, and the only reason I got into coffee is because I have a huge amount of energy, and I've got mild ADHD, and I find it really, really hard to sit still. And like when I was living, I lived out in the Alps for 10 years, and for 4 years I worked in an international school there. I taught outdoor education, and I only worked 4 days a week, so the rest of the time I'd go out climbing. And I had a French friend who wouldn't go anywhere without his espresso in the morning, and I'd be sitting there like in the cafe waiting, like, come on, I want to go climbing, and it's like nothing to do with my hands. So that's when I started drinking coffee, and I love it. It's my weakness now.
Have you got any fun stories from your travels?
Oh, loads. Yeah, loads of fun stuff. I mean, it's part of, I think the most thing I enjoy about it the most is the team that I get to travel with. I get to travel with an incredible camera crew and things, and some of the stuff that we see, some of the people that we get to hang out with as well. We're just, yes, I suppose so fortunate really that get to go out with these guys, and some of us have been working together now for over a decade, and spending time out in these places, it really builds up a rapport amongst you. And a lot of like similar, to, I'm sure, within your own, scout groups and things, it's those sort of in jokes and things that come out.
Oh, brilliant.
So Megan, can I tell you a confession about bear?
Go on then.
Well, my scouts know this. The Max knows it. Lots of the Bush Scout guys know that I do I might have a little friendship for bear. Can you expand? Can you help me? I'm getting rather embarrassed. I wish I never confessed that. No. I do have a bromance for bear. It's not quiet. I do have a big bromance, but my wife is very jealous as well. What gossip do you tell us about bear? It's just us three. No one else on the internet is watching this. Just us three. It's not. What gossip do you know about bear? Come on. You can't say you know nothing. This is not because I asked about this. He's very good with bear, and he said he knew no gossip about bear. And you've worked with bear very closely, so you must know some gossip.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time with bear and camping out with bear in various environments all over the world. He is a terrible cook, and like I actually hope he listens in, because I've never had the heart to tell him this before. It's like, we're sitting around the camp, and he always insists on cooking on the fire, and oh my goodness, it's terrible. He needs some lessons from you guys.
So, talking about campfire cooking, what's your favourite meal on a campfire?
I love making like breads and things. I really enjoy I have kind of a whole set of poiky pots and like the Dutch ovens, like the cast iron pots that you can you kind of make some amazing cakes and things in. I think that was one of the things that when I was doing a lot more kind of static bushcraft courses like many years ago. That's what I'd really love doing, is kind of getting people to actually cook on the fire. And there's nothing more rewarding than cooking something that you've caught yourself or foraged yourself.
Have you ever had campfire popcorn?
I haven't. No.
Oh,
is it? Do you have it?
Blog.
Your blog.
I gotta get my vlog in there. I did a campfire popcorn using two sieves. And you put it on like a broomstick or something, and you pop your popcorn kernels over that, pop it over the campfire embers, and within 2-3 minutes, amazing campfire popcorn.
Awesome! I'm gonna have to try this.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Make it for Bear. Tell him. People are asking, do you know if Bear prefers tea or coffee? I didn't ask that one, by the way.
No, he's a tea drinker, and he's very specific with how he has his tea.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah, I think there's a specific order that the milk goes in and things, but not being a tea drinker myself, it's it kind of goes over my head a little bit.
Yeah. So we're in this wonderful lockdown at the moment. What do you do to keep yourself busy now that we're having to spend so much time indoors? I know you've caught up with all your admin and done all that stuff. Is there anything that inspiration you give to the young people to keep busy?
Yeah, I think so. For me, it's getting into a routine. So this is something that I do on any expedition, and there's been quite a few times in the past where I've done jobs where I've literally been dropped out into jungles and deserts, with nothing but a machete and a medical pack just in case the person that I'm looking after, who's going to be on screen, has an accident and needs it, or myself for that matter. And the whole aim of that is to then survive off what we can find. So I've done ones out in the desert, for example, where we're all I can find are lizards and snakes, and that's we're living on that for kind of 3 weeks or so. And it's really, really important in those moments that I get myself into a routine. So the first thing that's really important is acceptance. So it's accepting that situation. So the jungle is wet, it's pretty miserable, everything wants to bite you or scratch you, and so for me it's really, really important that right at the very start I accept the fact that I'm going to be wet, and if I'm in a survival scenario where I don't have any food, that I'm most likely going to be hungry, and I'm going to be tired. And once I accept those things, it kind of takes a lot of energy and pressure off. So in this situation, obviously I've accepted the fact that I'm stuck here. My work has kind of just dried up overnight, and I'm in this situation. And then the next step that I take is to get myself into a routine. So that gives me a purpose to get up in the morning, and it makes sure that, particularly in a survival situations, that I'm meeting my basic human needs. So the priorities of survival, like fire, food, shelter, and water, that I'm actually ticking those things off during the day. So from getting up in the morning to kind of sourcing water, purifying that water by boiling it, making sure that I've got the fire, getting the fire out if we're then moving, to my evening routine as well. That in some areas where we've been, we did a show, sort of survival show, where I'd been dropped off in the desert in Namibia, and we had an issue with some lions stalking us a couple of nights, and the only reason that they didn't attack us was because of the preparation and because I'd got into that routine. And although we'd been out there for about 10 days by that stage, and it was like, I was tired, I was hungry, hadn't really eaten, was dehydrated, it's because I was in that routine of every night I cut enough wood for my fire, and there's a lot of scrub bush for my fire, and I've also built a kind of what they call like a boma around the outside of where I'm going to be sleeping, which helps keep out the wild animals. So that routine is really, really important, and that's what I've applied to this as well. So in the morning I have my morning routine of getting up, going out for a run or training, and then I come back and I make a coffee, and I put some tunes on, dance around, have a shower, and then I call somebody. So every day, every morning, I've been calling somebody and having that interaction. It's been great, actually catching up with old friends and things. And then the rest of the day is open. I've got a lot of kind of expeditions that I'm kind of having to move around at the moment, and a lot of sort of TV consultancy work as well that we're kind of trying to shuffle around and try to make work. And then I have my evening routine as well, and that really helps me get through, because it gives me a purpose each day and it gives me a reason to get out of bed.
Oh, brilliant! So one for the adults then watching, because you've got a book out, Mind of a Survivor.
Yeah.
That covers some of the stuff you talked about tonight. What's your 30-second plug on your book to get the leaders to read it?
It's amazing. No, it's about. It's so surreal actually that it exists. But it's an exploration into resilience. So I was intrigued by the question of like, what makes somebody a survivor, and why do some people walk out of these survival scenarios and other people don't, and what are the lessons that we learn like in the wild that we can apply to everyday life in terms of resilience. And I mean, for me it was a fascinating exploration, and number 2 is on its way.
Oh, brilliant.
Wow,
excellent.
Megan, what's your favorite way of lighting a fire?
With a lighter. Survival is all about it's all about
getting the fire cooking.
Yeah, no. So survival's all about conserving energy. So there's nothing more rewarding than making fire by friction and making it so you've created the entire set that you're making to actually be able to start your fire, and you're rubbing your sticks together, and that is absolutely incredible, and it's so rewarding. But ultimately, survival is all about conserving your energy, and in a survival situation, if there's ways of doing stuff, then you will.
What do you like?
Good answer.
What do you like at? What do you like at tracking, identifying animal prints?
I've done quite a lot in the past. I absolutely nothing compared to some of the local people and the indigenous people that I've got to work with. Last year, I was out in Kenya in the summer. I spent a few weeks out there working with anti-poaching rangers. And that was just incredible. And for any girls listening in, going back to the whole gender question, there is an incredible there's a few female anti-poaching ranger units now out there, but one of them is called the Akashinga, which translates as the brave ones, and they've got a film that's just come out, and it is just incredible. And I got to work with some of these women last year. And these women are amazing. They are literally putting their lives on the line on a weekly basis, and they come under fire. So they'll get in gunfights quite frequently, and they're just amazing. And I think everybody should watch these. But these women and the guys as well, the male rangers as well. So you go out with them in the bush, and they'll spot stuff that we would never pick up on.
Yeah, it's good you bring up the balance of boys and girls in scouting from the questions. I'm lucky I've got a really good group, 50-50, within our group as to boys to girls. So it seems it works really well because they're all balanced against each other, and you see different skills and different mindsets coming out across the group and the way that they all interact with one another. So it's just great to see everyone coming in. And I guess, one of the questions for me, for these young people watching, and somebody's inspired by you this evening, or, wants to I want to do that, I want to go and do all of this stuff, what advice would you give them?
To go and do it. If it's the outdoors that you're interested in working in or spending more time in, I just can't, I can't advocate enough like getting out there and actually building up your own personal experience. If you want to become an outdoor instructor, or even get into outdoor TV consultancy work, to get out there and get as much skills and things as you can for yourself. I mean, any of you will know from your camping experiences that when the weather's nice, like it has been in the UK the past few weeks, it's easy, it's great, it's so much fun, but you have to know as well that you can look after yourself and other people, and you kind of enjoy, in a weird sort of way, kind of suffering when it's really pissing it down with rain. So getting out there and spending as much time outside as possible for yourself, going out with people who are more experienced than yourself and learning from them, booking yourself onto courses. And for anybody who's seriously wanting to sort of start working in the outdoor industry, then there are lots of apprenticeships now as well. Many outdoor centres will offer in-house training and will give you your NGB, so your National Governing Body Awards, like your Mountain Leader, like your Single Pitch Award, or your Rock Climbing Instructor Award, which is what it is now. And all these other outdoor qualifications, and to be able to shadow other people is amazing. And then from there on, once you get those basic qualifications, you can then go start going into expedition leading and things, which is what I wanted to do. I always wanted to travel. I never really had the opportunity as a child, so I was like, how can I make a career out of traveling, so I can go and see these places that had captured my imagination as a child.
Excellent. Can we hear your dog in the background there?
You can, yes. Yeah.
Are they coming on? Are they camera shy, or are they?
Tucky, come here. Tucks. She might be shy now. She might run away.
Okay.
Do you prefer to be in front of the camera or behind the camera, Megan?
It's Tug.
Oh.
Yeah. I do get asked quite a lot to do various in front of camera stuff. I'm not really that interested unless it's something that's, you know, an exciting adventure. So I did a show for Facebook Watch last year, where we went off in search of lost cities and spent 3 months out in the Amazon rainforest. And it turned into a murder mystery, and that was amazing, and that was so much fun. But yeah, otherwise, I'm very happy behind the scenes. We have a lot more fun there.
Excellent.
I want to know. I want to ask so many questions, but we haven't got enough time. It's sad.
Yeah, I know we've got some other things we need to do and badge work and such like this evening. Anything else you want to add, Megan, to the young people that are watching?
No, I thought I'd just say thank you so much for inviting me on. It's so nice to actually come in and actually get to talk to people and interact with and hear the amazing things that are going on out on the ground as well. And if anybody does have questions, the best place to reach me is through direct messages on social media, or through my office email. And I have a team that that gets back to people if anyone's got quite specific questions on how certain aspects of career and things, so that they're always very happy to answer those questions as well if anyone's got any or wants to reach out. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, just don't never underestimate like the amount of experience and knowledge and resilience and everything that you guys have got, and you've sort of accrued over the years from being scouts. So yeah, I like I said, I feel incredibly proud to be part of the organisation.
No, well done. Big round of applause, Megan. Last question before we have to say goodbye to you, sadly. If you could sit around the camp with one person, dead or alive, for say 1 hour, just you and them, who would you choose?
Oh my goodness, this is so hard. Oh wow, that is incredibly difficult. I think, she's still alive now, but my first female role model that I ever had was a woman called Lynn Hill, she's an incredible rock climber. And years ago, like when I first heard about her, she wasn't just pushing the limits of female rock climbing; she was pushing the limits of rock climbing in general. And I'd love to sit down and chat to her and hear, because for me, seeing her it was a book she'd written that I read, reading her book and like suddenly realizing that I wasn't the only female out there doing it, was just the most incredible feeling. So yeah, I'd love to sit down and chat to her and hear more of her stories actually in person.
Oh,
nice
brilliant
answer. Excellent. Megan, thank you very much for joining us here. It's been great to spend some time and ask all these questions with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on.
Excellent, Megan. Thank you once again. If you want to get in touch with Megan, what's your website?
It's meganhine.com, and or through social media is the email buttons now. I think they're the right emails now as well. So you can reach out through there.
Excellent. Wonderful. And don't forget Megan's book.
Yep, absolutely.
Excellent. Megan, thank you once again. Thank you very much for joining us.
Bye.
Bye. Beautiful. Well, there we are. That was great to talk to Megan.
It was, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, it was great to spend some of that time and asking those questions, and thank you guys for sending in those questions in the chat room.
Yeah, so it fantastic to get a Scout Ambassador on. It's absolutely brilliant. All the Scout Ambassadors do wonderful stuff for Scouts, and you can find out more about them on the Scout web pages.
Yeah.
So we've got 10 minutes or so. Let's play a game, Mark. Let's do some footprints.
Footprints. All right.
Footprints. Let's do some footprints.
Right. Let's try and find. Let's hopefully.
If we can do this.
Right. Hopefully. Cross your fingers, everyone, because you know what my IT skills are like. Hopefully, in a few seconds, you're going to our screen will change. Hopefully, in a few seconds.
He's waiting.
Hey, look.
Yay.
You got it.
Yep, it's changed. Okay, so
There we are.
tonight, footprints are from birds. Okay, so here's some clues. A is a type of this that you may go and feed bread to in the park, but bread's the wrong thing to feed to them. Really, you need to feed some seed instead. B, particularly likes the fish out of my pond, and it's quite a big bird with a big wingspan. C, there are a couple of types of, and one of them loves Nelson's Column in London and the Lions.
Good clue. Good clue.
So let's see what answers we get in the chat.
A bat, a frog, a penguin, duck, heron, duck, pelican, and seagull. A duck, heron, and pigeon. I like Mike's answer to number 3. It's a thingy.
It's a thingy. Okay.
It's not a thingy. Mallard, heron, blackbird, duck, hawk, and pigeon.
Okay, so we'll get some good answers there. Let's bring up the pictures.
You want to know the answers?
Let's bring up the answers. So A is a type of duck because it's webbed, has a webbed foot. Okay, so if you said duck, yeah, good enough, but it's a mallard.
Is a duck different to a duck?
It's a northern thing. It's a duck. It's a mallard duck. Yeah. And there's a picture of a male and a female there. The female's the brown one, and the male has the colours. The big bird there is a heron. And yes, I've got herons trying to pinch the fish out, my goldfish out of the pond. And the other one is a pigeon, and that's a feral pigeon opposed to a wood pigeon. Wood pigeons are slightly fatter, and you might see them in your gardens a lot more than feral tend to be in city centres. It's amazing though, nobody really sees a baby pigeon though, do they? You ever seen a baby pigeon?
I think I've always seen a pigeon that same size.
Yes. So the youngsters, the juveniles, are very similar size. Apparently, there are some differences, but you don't never really see a baby pigeon. So there's some footprints for tonight. So we've got 6 minutes.
People are just asking about badge work. What badge work are we going to do? We're going to be doing some just after the NHS clap. That's going to be
key worker clap. Key
worker clap. My apologies.
Yeah, and there's lots of people going back to work now. There's lots of key workers out there. There's so everybody that's going back to work, thank you. Helping to shore up the economy now, which is what we need. Just big thanks to everybody, really. On all of that.
It's been great. So we'll do some badge work. There's no point starting the badge work right now, and then we have to stop. But we had an amazing guest tonight, and we wanted to give you as much time as we could to answer those questions to Megan. Megan's an amazing, not just she's amazing as a Scout ambassador. It's great, but for what she's done, and I think what I didn't say to her, which I should have said, it's great that she's kind of as a female to prove and to actually just being a doesn't hold you back. You can do whatever you want, and look what I've done. You know, and the stuff she's doing is amazing. And it's just kind of proven as a girl, you can just say, actually, you know what? I'm going to beat the boys and do one better. You know, and the stuff that she's doing, the exhibition leader, leading a team, it's just amazing that you can do that. You know,
Fantastic role model for anybody. You know, from being starting a mountain leader course to ending up being an international TV presenter and consultant, and amazing, absolutely
and she's
amazing.
done so much. Like we could have talked for hours and hours, and questions I wanted to ask her that we ran out of time is like she was a stunt driver as well. Like, how cool is that?
Very.
As a guy, as a boy as well, you'd love to be a stunt driver. To be a girl stunt driver, awesome. Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, it's been great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been great. So, guys, in the chat room, how are we doing? Did everyone enjoy that lovely chat with Megan? Let's have a look. Please sing "Happy Birthday."
Should we do some scout outs while we wait to count down?
Let's see if we can do this. We don't want to be too clever, you see.
You've got 3 minutes.
I'll be fine.
So,
Don't worry, guys.
Colin's throwing some up into the chat.
Hey. So you did sneakily see in there when I did do that video that Max got his Chief Commendation Award. So well done, Max.
And so did Mark. Mark got one as well. So well done, Mark.
It's good. It's all good.
So
it's all good and hood. Well done. Yeah.
And our moderator is telling us that it's time to go outside and clap. So we'll go and do our usual, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
It's still going on. People are still clapping. Can still hear them with the pots and pans this week. It has been great.
Yep.
So yeah, excellent. We're back. We've look at the time. The time's flying past, Max. We better get on with some badge work.
I know. Badge work. Do you want me to go first or you going first?
Ladies first. Go for it.
Thank you.
Higher.
So, higher than a watering can, a fork and trowel, and a spade and fork. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about the gardening badges. Okay, so we've got a gardening badge for beavers, for cubs, and for scouts. It's now a farming badge. It used to be a smallholders badge, but it's now a farming badge. And there's a lot you can do with these badges while you're at home. And even though it says farming badge, I'll talk a little bit about what you can do around that. So one of the good things now is that garden centres have been allowed to open, which is a good thing. Previously, ordering things like seeds off the internet took a bit of time because the warehouses that were sending these out, the companies were sending them out, were quite inundated with asking for seeds. And it's amazing how many people have actually taken to growing plants from seed. And some of my neighbours have started using parts of their front lawn to grow vegetables, which has been great because I've been able to share some seeds with them, so that they can all start to do that. But not everybody's got a garden. Okay, so lots of seeds, but not everybody's got a garden. What can you do? So you could use things like cups. Okay, you don't have to have a big garden to actually grow something to earn and work towards your badges. So you could use a cup, but what we don't want to do is just have all the water in it. So we'll put a hole in the bottom and get some adult supervision to do that, so it drains, and sit it in a saucer. Put that on your windowsill, on your window ledge, and a bit of soil in there, and you can grow plants in home. So if you haven't got a garden, you can do this. If you've got a garden, you can go a little bit bigger and use some pots rather than having to, as my neighbours have done, dig up your garden. But you can start to then grow different things. Now, you don't have to grow vegetables. You could grow flowers. I've chosen to start a herb garden with some standard herbs, and Mark's showing a pot plant that he made for Mother's Day there.
Out of felt. I didn't grow these.
Out of felt. That's more the craft badge than the other badges. So the important thing here is around keeping a bit of a diary about what you're doing. So if you've got a garden, going out and tidying up the garden, doing a bit of weeding and helping your parents do the lawn mowing, or sweeping, or whatever needs to be done in the garden. But looking, if you haven't got that, then using simple things like a cup and a packet of seeds, then start to actually grow some plants and look at creating a diary. So now's a great time to actually start sowing. March to May is a really good sowing time for most plants from seed. Some seeds do differently. So on the back of a packet of seeds, there are two different colours on this chart. Okay, in the chart are the months. So January to December, and it shows when the best time to sow them is and when the best time to harvest them is. So the earlier you sow them, the earlier you can harvest them.
And it's the same with flowers as well, isn't it, Max?
Yeah, same with flowers.
And then it will say when it blossoms.
When it blossoms, absolutely. So your sowing time and your harvest time. And this is because these are the normal cycles in the year where the plant, in this particular case, coriander, can start to grow. So take some photos, do some simple things like measurements. How far has the plant grown from seed up to a plant? And some of them, I when I went to Candlestag, I brought a Edelweiss flower back seeds and planted them, and it's taken a couple of years now, and it's only this big because it's a very, very slow growing plant. So some of them take really long time, but things like seeds, like herbs, grow quite quickly. This is another one called Rocket. Also, if you remember, this one of the names of the guinea pigs I've got. So get out there, plant some seeds, keep a diary, and you could also link back into your photography badge, taking photos of it. You could link back into your writing badge, writing how you're doing. Yeah, by doing your diary. Yeah. So there are things you can do. You can do your personal challenge badge with this as well. So your personal challenge badge is to grow some flowers, grow plants from seeds. Another great one to do.
Just in the chat, people are talking about growing strawberries, and I was just saying that we at home we've been growing them in hanging baskets because they're space-wise. You can get some lovely hanging strawberry plants.
Yeah, so people are mentioning cress. So cress is great, and I'm trying carefully not to spill this open packet of cress on my keypad on my laptop, as I'll be having big cress problems later. I don't think IT support would help me on that one. Cress grows really well, and that's just a piece of kitchen foil. Sorry, not kitchen foil, kitchen paper folded over and wet it and put the seed on top. We did that with some of the cress head things that we did earlier in one of the episodes. Yeah. But for me, cress is kind of easy side of it. Much better to plant something.
Are we going to announce our new competition, Max? Oh, look at that! Yeah,
sunflowers. Okay. So now's March to May, bit of June, good time to grow sunflowers, but we're going to do a large sunflower competition. Now, it's not going to be until September time before we can actually judge it. However, plant your seeds now, and let's see who can get the tallest sunflower. Okay, and we'll do some prizes based on
game
on
that. Max. Game on.
Okay, and you've already started. No, you got to do from seeds. From seeds. Let's make this fair. Seeds from now. Not a plant that's 2 foot high.
No.
Seeds from now.
It's not 2 foot high. They're only a thing. But we've got some more. We will do that. We'll plant this. But I'm loving that competition. We do it at home as well. We try and who can grow the biggest sunflower.
Yeah. So it could be that all you do is plant sunflowers. Okay, but it's still gardening. It's still looking after it. The other thing is for the kind of later bits of the Cub badge and the Scout badge, I've posted some links onto first YouTube pages on the Facebook page. One is a link to a virtual garden that you can build through the BBC website with Alan Titmarsh, and there's a couple of bits you have to follow to do a virtual garden. Okay, so you can build your garden up and perhaps screenshot that, print it out, send it off to your leaders to show building that garden. And the other one is because the Scout talks about farming. Okay, so one of the options is around a farming badge. I've put a link up to a virtual farm walk site where they take you through farming, so you can learn about farming. So you could base your work around farming if you wanted to, or you may live on a farm, which would be brilliant, and you can base your badge around that. So there's my badge set for tonight around gardening and are out farming. So let's all get out there, let's get planting. And the great thing about growing things like herbs, garlic chives here, is that you can eat them. So game on. And sunflowers,
seeds.
great for birds.
Yeah.
Great for
But you can't eat sunflower
bees. No, but the birds, we can eat sunflower
They
seeds, but
love
I
it.
wouldn't recommend these as such. They need to be kind of processed a little bit. But yeah, when you're finished, take your head and you put it into your bird feeder or a bird table, and the birds come down and take all the seeds, and they love it.
No, Rosie's saying there's no space in her garden.
So
grow some at the Scout Hall, Rosie.
Yeah.
You can do some in the Scout Hall. Grow the seeds in your garden, and then we can transfer them to the Scout Hall. That's a good idea.
Okay.
How about that then? Cool. So 8:15. Wow, we are still we're still on. Max, the link to the BBC isn't working.
Ooh, okay.
We'll check that. So while Max is looking into that, I just want to talk about my badge that we're looking at tonight, and that's going to be for everyone to do. And we're just looking at the Global Issues Activity badge, okay? And it's all about identifying where things come from the world. So, for instance, where do your clothes come from? Yeah. So we're all very good at the moment. It's a bit different because the shops are closed. But beforehand, we would go to the shop and buy a £2 T-shirt, and then next week we just throw it away because it's £2. You wouldn't do that to a kind of £30 T-shirt. But we're coming into a culture where we just use things once or twice, we get bored of it, and it's cheap to throw it away. But where does it come from? Who's been making that? We do know that there's companies that have child labor and even adult labor that get paid pittance, and the companies are making it. So this week, I want you to look at the clothes that you're wearing and try and find out, where do they come from? Who's been making it? Is it a person that's your age? They may be being taken out of school from their family to go and work in the factories to earn money. And that's something that the Global Issues Activity badge, as a scout, we need to look into. Now, there's other things in the badge that talk about a recent natural disaster, and you've got to look at the newspapers, look at photos, videos online, and in a group, but this will be yourself, you would list 5 things that you would need to help in that disaster. So if it was a flood, what 5 things would you need in that flood? Maybe you need a boat to get out of the flood, or maybe it's things like you need food, shelter. So you've got to come up with 5 things. So think of a natural disaster, a volcano, a flood, a big fire. There's been some fires, bushfires in Australia. We've got COVID going on at the moment. That's a really good example of 5 things that you would need to help you in that disaster. Okay. Now, another thing is we're going to look at a sporting event and how can that help to international peace and understanding. So if you think about football, is probably the easiest sport to think of because that's very global and there's lots of matches around the world, isn't there? And lots of players swap teams and stuff. But how could those players, how could those teams help promote? How could they help promote international peace? So start jotting some of these ideas down, yeah? And then think about how would you would promote it, yeah? So if we're in a scout hall, we would want the scouts to go home and write a talk or something, a presentation, and next week they will come back in their patrols and present it. But what I need you to do here on First YouTube is, how are you going to pass on that message to your friends, to your family in lockdown? So think about it. Maybe you're having a Zoom family catch up or something, and just say, 1, 2 or 3 minutes to discuss this idea that you have about whatever global issue it is, and maybe quiz the people in your household and play that game of, this is the disaster. What 5 things would you need to take with you to help you survive? So that's what we're going to look at this week, yeah? So look at the clothes that you're wearing. Where do they come from? Maybe it's a company that is very pro. Yeah, I know there's lots of brands out there that are looking, they recycle quite a lot of things. You can send T-shirts back and they recycle. But then there were companies that we know that have these kind of what they call sweatshops. So there's lots and lots of people in there. Sadly, lots of kids. So this week, have a look at your clothes. Where did they come from, and how much do you think it actually is really worth? Are you one of those people that buy a T-shirt, wear it once or twice, and then throw it away? I think we've all done it. If we all admit to being that person, I'm sure Max. If you're open enough, you would probably just say the same as well. You've bought a cheap T-shirt just because you need it. But in the current status of the world at the moment, is it a good thing?
No, I mean, so it's not. And the T-shirts that you've got that you might want to throw away, there's some great advice on turning them into masks. If you're not able to get one, to turn them into masks. I use old T-shirts as well for helping me with making char cloth, if they're the right material.
I think, and
so I
just
find
the other day,
reuse for them.
T-shirts and kind of like tea towels and stuff. I use them cleaning things that are good for the windows. They're really good at. You can do lots of things with old stuff. Look at the socks that you made from old hole in your sock. You just normally throw it away. It's all about recycling. What can you reuse that for? And I think we're just at the moment we're just a throwaway society. So I think this badge is a very good badge to do at the moment. Now we're calming down from COVID, isn't it? It probably wasn't the right one to do a few weeks ago. Lots of things were happening. Now we're kind of slowly getting back. So this is the time I think we need to think what can we give back to the world. Whatever you believe in, your faith, it's all different. There's lots of theories about why COVID happened, and that's not what we're talking about here. I'm just talking about what you could give back to the world instead of just rebuying things all the time. Recycling, Rosie's right. There were small children working in sweatshops who were forced to work long hours to make our clothing that we buy for just a couple of quid, even a couple of pence. This badge is it can get quite emotional if you look into it. Do you know what I mean, Max?
I do. The global issues brings out quite a lot from, and I've looked at plastics before with I'll talk about plastic cups before, but it's reusing them. A lot of people will just take a drink and throw it.
Yeah,
but
a lot of companies now have stopped plastic cups. In my hospital, we don't use plastic cups; we use the paper cups, and we try and encourage that. So I know lots of companies.
Paper cups are better anyway because you can plant them out in the garden afterwards. That's just an example because I had them lying around, but they're not bin. They're used for craft and all kinds of things.
There's lots of things. We kind of use this at home for paint pots as well when my kids are painting. There's lots of things you can do.
Yeah, it's about reuse, isn't it? It's about taking things. Go on.
In the chat, Emily has showed her mom a program on CBBC called "What You're Made Of," and it's a real eye opener. She recommends that we should go and watch that. I haven't seen that.
Okay.
But we'll check that out.
Yeah, no, thanks for that.
Air pollution, actually, that's in the chat room. Air pollution from Leo. Thanks for posting that. Very interesting, Mass. I don't know if you've seen the reports and stuff. That air pollution has gone
8%.
down.
Yeah, I think globally it's 8%.
And smog levels as well. And in Venice, if you look at Venice, haven't you? The rivers in Venice are so clear you can start seeing fish and stuff.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you can see the fish.
I think a global badge at the moment is a real good thing to think about.
And, you look out at some of the weather we're having now, and you sort of think, are we getting some of this because we've calmed down a little bit on everything? I think unfortunately with the current situation and the government advice about not using public transport too much, everybody's immediately gone dive for the car. We'll see the levels rise slightly again, which is disappointing.
It was very interesting on the journey to work to the hospital. During the lockdown, it's been taking me just under 20 minutes to get from where I live into central London, and today, 45 minutes, and that's kind of quite good. I'm sure next week is going to be probably even longer, but yeah, like you say, people are getting back into their cars and stuff now.
Yeah. It's it's great to see people going back to work and things. It's a global issue. The economies are also suffering across the world, which for young people, they sort of think, yeah, it's fine. It doesn't really affect me, but longer term, it does, because it affects the parents and all kinds of things. So there's huge issues out there that can be picked up for this badge.
Scotland is still in complete lockdown.
Yeah, absolutely, and different messages, different parts of the UK. But either way, if you seed companies are still sending seeds out, so there's still ability to order online and get stuff, which is great because there are so many people still working to do that for us. Craft cam. Yeah, we've been shouting for a craft cam, Mark. I forgot the craft cam.
We'll see. Let's see what we can.
We can squeeze it. It's a small one. It's a small one tonight. It's a fun one. It's a fun one because we're going to have a nice weekend. Go on. We'll just run a couple of minutes over. Let's run.
Let's see. Hopefully.
So in this craft cam, we need plastic bag, some thread. I'm going to use a Pritt stick here, scissors, and sellotape. First thing to do is to cut out a square in the plastic bag. Here's kind of one I had earlier, squarish. With the thread, you want 4 equal lengths of thread, roughly about the diagonal of the plastic bag in length. And with each of those pieces of thread, you want to either tie a knot into the end of the plastic using the thread, or just for a bit of ease, I've used a bit of sellotape on each corner with a piece of thread. And what we're going to do, using a bit of sellotape, there's the end, in that wonderful sellotape sound. I'm going to take 2 of the pieces of thread from one side of the plastic and put them over to one side of the glue stick, and I'm going to take the other 2 to the other side. Now you could, if you wanted to, take a little bit more time and put them into the quarters of around the glue stick, or any object that you're using at the end of here. And what we're doing is we're making a nice parachute on the end of a glue stick. So could be an object of some description, but a solid object, something that won't damage when you throw this up in the air, and it comes back down to land, and the parachute here. So what I'm going to do is just hold that nice and loosely, put the stick there, just hold the threads there. Go outside on your exercise, nice open space, not many people around, so you're not going to hurt anybody with this. Throw it up in the air as high as it will go, as you can throw it, and it will come down. The gravity will open the chute with the air friction, and it should come nicely down to the ground. If it comes down too quickly, you might need a bigger chute or a lighter object on the end. So practice with a bit of physics and you can make a nice parachute. let's see some photos of what you're doing onto the Facebook page, First YouTube Scouts on Facebook.
Hello, big man in the woods. My name's Dave. This is my son William, and we're going to show you the friendship knot. So the first thing we do is fold this side of the necker up, like that. And then we're going to put this one so it comes around the necker, around the back. This one comes over the top. This one goes over the top of that one, and then through the loop. And then we're going to pull all four ends of the knot. Yeah, a nice even finish, and that's your friendship knot.
Bye.
Okay. Excellent. So, yeah. So we've got a couple of scout outs before we close for the night. But go out and make those parachutes. Make sure it's safe to do so when you throw it up in the air, and take some pictures of the parachutes you make. They're great fun. Do it in a wide space because you don't want it floating over your neighbour's garden because you might not get it back. But yeah, they're absolutely great fun to make and take out into a space somewhere and have some fun with it. Yeah, absolutely. First Tainhams, 24th Bournemouth, 8th Ealing, 4th Hounslow, 2nd Wimborne. Luke Birchip birthday on Tuesday just gone. And you want to read the last one, Mark? No audio. We've got no audio. What's going on, Mark? Come on. You pressed the right buttons. Go on. What's going on? What's going on?
It was all
We
going
there?
so well. It's
Are we
all
there?
going so well, and then the last few minutes, the audio has gone. Anyway,
Right.
in the chat is the audio. We got Max, but not Mark.
Okay, so my chat's okay. Oh, Mark back. Excellent. So we're both back. I'm not sure what's going on there. We can't.
We nearly did an hour and a half
Oh,
no to go with
look, we can't have a first YouTube Scout group without a squeaky chair, loss of audio. Where's Max gone? Is Max there? Bring Max back. Or where's Mark gone? Mark's frozen. Only kidding. So it's all part of the fun. Yeah, it's as Mark said. It's all about resilience. So thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the interview with Megan. It was inspiring for me. It's one that I'll certainly watch back again on replay. It's great to see Scout Ambassadors helping us out, and let's keep up. Go out and plant those seeds. Get out there, plant the seeds. Let's see those pictures.
Plant seeds.
Plant seeds and think about the global.
Mike has a question. Go on, Mike. Find a question really quick. As my scouts always overrun. Max, your scouts probably overrun, doesn't it? And we've got a stream that's finally working. I had a proper stream for like 2 or 3 weeks. So the tech team have been working really hard. Thank Megan from Second Wimborne. It's very inspiring. We will pass on all your messages to Megan. It's been great.
We'll write a thank you.
Are you part of a YouTube Scout group, or are we? That's how individual works. Max, you want to answer that?
No, because I hadn't seen it on the Chat, just give me a second.
Are we part of like a YouTube scout group as well as our individual, Andrew?
Are you part of YouTube Scout as well as individual ones? We're all part of it. You know, there's so many groups, but you're all part of it because you're here joining in with us. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're part of
Absolutely.
the National Assessor Unit. Bush. There's lots of extra stuff. When we have that Zoom meeting, we're going Gustavo. We're organising a Zoom meeting very soon. Just hold fire because me and Max know something, but we can't tell you what.
Yeah.
We're in with the right people, but we will be doing a very special Zoom meeting where you guys can interact with us. We can see you, see your lovely faces. Can we have a first YouTube Scout group scarf? Merchandise has been discussed. But let's close this. We'll talk in a minute, but we're just running past a Scout meeting. Let's end the Scout meeting, and then me and Max will just stay on for a few minutes, answer some extra questions. But I know some people are going off to bed and stuff like that. But yeah, Max, would you like to close the night?
Yeah. Should we close this and start a new stream? So
Yeah.
that we've yeah. Okay. So I just want to say, first YouTube Scout group at ease. Troop alert. Troop dismissed.
Excellent.